Top 10 Fantasy Manhwa or Manhua You Haven't Read. It is our honor to welcome back you all in our new video where I am back with my top 10 Fantasy Manhwa or Manhua You Haven't Read. In a world where everyone holds fantasies of living out magic and the presence of manhwas and manhuas somehow fulfills them all, and on top of that, fantasy manhwa or manhua are really a fan demand out there and is also titled popular and really enjoyed and read by many in the current timings. Fantasy manhwa or manhua that you haven't read will surely keep you hanging, as the fantasy manhwa or manhuas in our today's list must be a completely new topic which will keep you guys interested too till the end. Hope our today's list will end up making you guys read something from the list for sure. And now, without having any more delays, let's get straight into our list. Starting off with our number 10, I blocked the Demon King's ultimate attack and ended up becoming the little hero's full-time nanny. When the eccentric party of the strong middle-aged mid-shield and the weakest DPS little hero partners just to gain the victory over their enemies and lead them to death, that's where the story begins. And then with their strong survivability, they are headed on a comfortable and a life they ever dreamed of in a whole another world. This title is kinda misleading because he's not a nanny. He is in a party by choice with a young female adventurer. Also, it never explicitly stated he defended against the Demon Lord attack, but that he tanked an entire army. Realistically, a better title would be something like "or has been tank Pierce up to adventure with a mysterious child archer." Regardless, it's a complete arc, full color and above average art. However, the returning Demon Lord is an overly beaten trope and are the 7 Saints as his minions. Thankfully, having a platonic father-daughter relationship of a has-been tank and a goofy girl with plunging arrows makes it worth the hour I spent reading it. Number 9. Reincarnated into a game. This prince is so hard to raise. All begins when a girl finds herself in the world of an otome game where she is Hill Augustine, who was a pretty young noble girl, and her goal was to take care of Prince Yuan, who was later said to become the future emperor of the game's world. Therefore, she now has to be careful and not act out of her character, because that might lead her to fail the game, and also her life may ultimately come to an end as well in real life. It's pretty much about the Hill Augustine, who is the female lead of the series as well, pretty much has to take care of the prince of the game world Yuan as if she was raising a baby by herself. I'm sure that you haven't read such manhwas, and I would definitely recommend you all to try this one for sure. Number 8. The Record of Unusual Creatures. Hal Reynolds, the main character of this series, who was just an ordinary landlord and also had a werewolf and a vampire girl living in his house, which is not normal to be honest. Anyways, the twist started appearing when he was dragged into a mysterious organization by a crazy goddess, all just to save alien creatures. And yet surprisingly, everything was shown to be set to 10,000 years ago, and the goddess who could solve all this was busy getting her year-end bonus. Now, personally speaking, the comedy is probably the most important part of the manhwa so far. Almost every chapter has to have something funny in it. If you don't like the type of comedy in the manhwa, it's probably not worth reading for you. I really don't mind how the manhwa is written and all its plot hole. What I only mind about is how enjoyable the manhwa is when reading, and this one fits it. People have different tastes, so yeah, some may not or may like this manhwa. Overall, it is a fantastic read. Number 7. How to Train Your Demon King. While exploring the wilderness, Yuan discovered a mysterious village being attacked by hundreds of demons. He accidentally got caught in a magical formation that was meant to kill the Demon King, Yu, and somehow obtained a portion of the Demon King's soul. Since then, the Demon King has been forced to live in a modern life with one Yenan and blend into human society. This manhwa is a pretty standard mix of action and comedy, and I believe it will lead into some gay romance, but it has a really great artist drawing it. The backgrounds are always very interesting and they look like some kind of minimalistic Hopper-like painting. He can draw some incredibly detailed panels and he uses cool tricks all the time, such as creating a beautiful contrast between the background and foreground, using different layers clearly distinguishable or having a small frame within a bigger one, like a window with a landscape inside it. I would highly recommend taking the time to read this solely for glancing at the art. I hope this author gets some recognition in the future too. I can't really tell if it is a single person or a studio though. The main character also really looks like Sharon from Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles and they all have elongated bodies. Really a good read. Number 6. Dragon Prince Yuan. It was Zhou Yuan, a young man in a world where cultivators are paramount. His breast plunges into a chaotic world and lights up the heavens. The moment Zhou Yuan was born, a mystical sign appeared in all heavens. Dragon keys swirled around him, and a dragon roar shook the land. It was the sign of the Saint Dragon. His 8 great meridians naturally were opened at birth, allowing him to skip the 8 great meridians awakening realm and reach the key nourishing realm. This is known as the legendary 1 in a billion Saint Dragon blessing, which bestows upon one the potential to reach the greater cultivation stages. As the Zhou clan's unprecedented Saint Dragon, he would have shined as brightly as the sun and moon and have the longevity of the land. However, the Saint Dragon of Zhou clan, his Saint Dragon was stolen at birth, which resulted in the disappearance of his 8 great meridians and the curse of dragon resentment poison. The curse later caused his 8 great meridians, which originally existed, sealed until Kang Yuan helped him awaken them. This is one of the generic novels that may be moan, but it's done pretty well. Nothing stands out as particularly great, but it will keep you turning the pages. World building is pretty good. MC does great treasures and powers along the way, and while they are interesting, they are never super OP, where he is beating guys multiple realms above him. This happens once early in the novel, but you can see actually the growth of the author as he adjusts this treasure to give a good but not overwhelming advantage against geniuses, who in turn have their own OP cheat. The OP items usually have drawbacks to balance them out. Other characters are okay, nothing special. They generally have their own goals, though it does feel like the whole world revolves around the MC. Unfortunately, we do have some word count padding with the multiple opinions and reactions POV common to other manhwa. We also get the generic sect politics and the fight train fight routine, but there are almost no immersion destroying moments and MC never goes full immature. Recommended if you are craving a dose of wish fulfillment's manhwas. Moving on to number 5. Hidden Road of the Nether World. When the world population was on a huge rise and also due to its depletion of world resources strike as well as the lifespan of all humans was then limited to 75 years too. And then when Zhang Yi, who was a high school kid and was also known as the most evil student to exist when tries to help his grandfather avoid mandatory death, he discovered that the purpose of the mandatory death law is to cover up a secret that mankind cannot bear to know. It was just an accidental knowledge ever passed on to him, but ever since then, all kinds of things and people that he has never heard of keep getting drawn into his life. The truth of the world is gradually revealing itself to him too. This manhwa has quite a decent story. The pacing of the plot is perfect and the world building is top notch. The only problem is that all female side characters feel a bit generic with no depth or uniqueness. The art of this manhwa is also nice with well portrayed fight scenes. Number 4. Handling the Demonets and Centus. The story here all takes place when our main character's dad, who had to marry for the second time, and then after they remarry, he was out with his new wife on a honeymoon abroad while leaving Sankyu along with his aunt Kian. Coincidentally, they both also shared the same birth year too. and expecting the start of an unabashed life at first, it never occurred to Sankyu that his aunt was a demon-slaying celestial being as well. All sorts of twists and turns start bashing him, and not to mention his long-lost childhood friend, Xiao Yu, turn out to be the greatest assassin of the banished Celestial at Zenshi, an organization managed by celestial beings. It has all the elements that a good manhwa should contain, such as comedy, fantasy, romance, and also I'm damn sure you guys must have never heard of this one as well. So I would suggest you all not to miss this one out, and definitely give this one a try. Number 3. There is a teleportation circle in my basement. Another total underrated but yet good manhwa. There is a teleportation circle in my basement starting with a young teen kid who stayed all by himself. He is Yotian. When he accidentally discovered something totally mysterious magical circle-shaped like entity in the basement while all he was just trying to do was expand his villa. But then he couldn't stop himself but place his hand on the seal, and with a flash of light, a magical majestic blonde-haired girl walked out of nowhere right from the circle. And this was where our normal teen life of his Yaotian was there to take a huge turn. Personally speaking, the artwork and art style is so good that it will keep you hanging. Also, the storyline's plots are so well. I highly recommend this one. Number 2. The Supreme Reincarnated. Chen-Li, who is the main character of the series, was destined to fail due to fate. However, he got really lucky and he was reborn and returned to his youth, where his family hadn't been destroyed and his parents and loved ones had yet to die a tragic death. Chen-Li, who was determined to make up for his regrets. With the memories of his past life, with his peerless talent, Chen-Li then decides to embark on a long journey against the heavens. Protect the family, crush the enemy, and the world's treasures are in my hand. Lying on the knees of a drunk beauty, awakening the power of the world, becoming a supreme, invincible emperor. I know it might sound pretty normal and nothing new, but trust me, you will absolutely love this manhwa. This one's totally worth the read. Definitely include this one on your read list. And finally, number 1. I, the strongest demon, have regained my youth. To keep up his standard, Xinsheng, the unceasing devil ruler who controlled the world, dove deep into the evil spirit domain to track down the most elevated and most grounded power. Millennia later, he has gotten more grounded and more youthful, and the world has likewise changed. My initial opinion was like the story was pretty boring. None of the characters were interesting and the story was kinda dull and bland. But it got better when the plot and storyline developed much more in later chapters, and the characters were also more interesting later on. The MC is great. He's so rational and calm. A refreshing change from those classic OP MCs who just go crazy every 3 chapters. He actually uses his brain and thinks calmly. Also, he does have some kingly vibes going on that's very well written, different from those manhwas where they just want to dominate everyone just because they are the king or the emperor. He carries out his kingly mindset in a rational and mature manner. I like this MC a lot. However, even after a lot of improvement in the storyline department, it still could be developed a little bit better as the depth of the characters other than the MC are still weak as hell. Still, it is enough for me to continue reading it without dropping. Art is also pretty nice. There is harem, but no romance, and I like it this way. And also the translation are also really good, and I am at least sure that you will definitely enjoy this one. Well, this was it for the today's list and the video. But before ending, if you really did enjoy our today's video, make sure you drop a like and also make sure that you are subscribed to us and leave that notification bell set to ringing so you won't be missing out on any of our future updates. You can always leave your views and suggestions down below in the comment section. Till the next one, see ya and peace out.